Are you struggling to know the amount of fish to stock in your fish pond? That is the stocking density of your fish pond. This is so important because if you overstock your fish, they will die because there will be competition for resources such as oxygen and feed, space, and all will lead to mortality. And if you also understock, it means that you are leaving a lot of space unutilized and for that matter, leaving profit on the table. So getting the balance or knowing the exact amount of fish to stock in your pond is as important as the fish farming itself. And a lot of beginners are struggling as to how many quantity of fish to stock in their pond. And oftentimes, overstocking is always common, leading to tender growth, and then the fish do not always grow faster than expected as a farmer. So in this video, I'm going to take you through step by step how to calculate the stocking density of your fish pond. And I bet you this video is going to be a long video, but I'm supposed to do it in two parts. I'll just put it in one, make it comprehensive, and explain everything in details. Because you must look at it to be simple, but it is not as simple as that. For instance, we always say that in the intensive stocking density, one fish, that is, if you intend to raise the fish to 1 kilogram, you are required to use 10 liters of water. So if that's the case, it means that if you have 1,000 liters of water, you simply just divide this by 10 and you will have 100 fish to stock. But it's not as easy as that. How to arrive to the conclusion that your pond is 100 liters? That is where the problem lies. So it means that before you are able to know the stocking density of your pond, or before you can calculate that, you first of all have to calculate the volume of the water in your pond. After knowing the volume of the water in your pond, then you can now use that volume, especially in liters, and to know the quantity of fish to stock. If you are new to this channel, my name is Abdulaziz Issa. All we do in this channel is to share fish farming tips based on our experience and research. If you are not subscribed to this channel, please do so, and let's dive in details. Let's look at factors affecting stocking density. There are factors that you need to consider when stocking or when you're calculating for the stocking density. First thing, we need to know the type of fish. Which type of fish do you intend to raise? Is it catfish or tilapia? Note, catfish and tilapia, oftentimes we just calculate them to be stocked in the same quantity. But ideally, catfish needs more space because of the body weight of them. And all the same, you can put them as one. I just want to put this differentiation for you so that if someone tells you that you need more space for catfish, you will not be surprised. But we do just stock them at the same time. So note the type of fish that you are stocking. Two, also the type of pond. Is it going to be a concrete pond, tarpaulin pond, plastic pond, earthen pond, or whatever? You need to know the pond system that you are using. But generally, concrete pond, tarpaulin pond, they do go the same. But it's in earthen pond that you can stock more because it mimics nature. It has its own filtration system and other systems that is making it unique. But whichever, either tarpaulin or concrete, consider the same stocking density. And even in this calculation, we are going to base on concrete and tarpaulin pond. Also consider the type of system that you're going to be using. Are you going to use intensive or semi-intensive. Intensive or semi-intensive, we'll talk about intensive. You are taking the general control of the fish. Their water management, feeding, everything is in your hand. You control everything. That's the intensive. This means that mostly in intensive, you either install filtration or aeration system or you do regular water changes. Because of that, intensive, we usually calculate one fish to 10 liters of water. Because you control everything, you ensure the water quality is good. But with the semi-intensive, here nature does things for you, but you also complement. In terms of feeding, you give supplementary feed, but you don't provide the feed all the time. Maybe you can feed them once or twice a day. But with the semi-intensive, you are feeding them all. If you don't give them feed, they won't get feed. But with the semi-intensive, sometimes they get insects or algae or other natural food to take. So you only give them commercial feed just to complement. And this case too, the water management is not entirely in the hand of you as a farmer. You don't always change the water or you don't install filtration aeration system. So this system, you install lesser in there. You install lesser, and for that matter, we usually say one fish is to 20 liters of water. Please note, these factors will give you the final calculation of the stocking density. So it's very important you take note of that. Now, other factors are classified under the intensive and semi-intensive. So it's very important to note, if you install filtration and aeration or you are having good water management, you can stock one fish to 10 liters. And that's what we are going to work with. So that's why if you are not willing to be changing the water all the time, then consider install filtration system in order to be able to stock more fish. If not, then you need to go by the semi-intensive where you have to stock less fish. So now let's look at how to calculate the volume of your fish pond. After having a look at these factors, now let's look at how to calculate the volume. And mostly, fish ponds are made into two different categories, or they are often in two forms. We have the rectangular ponds. So we can say this is a rectangular pond. This is a rectangular pond and cylindrical pond. Cylindrical pond. So this is it. This cylindrical pond. So most fish ponds are like this. Either it is a circular or rectangular. They may have different shape, but this is common ones, and this is what we are going to calculate. Now, calculating for a rectangular pond is not the same way of calculating for cylindrical. That is it. So, first of all, we will look at the rectangular pond, how to calculate that, and we also look at the cylindrical pond, how to calculate that. After getting the figures, then we can then look at how to calculate the stocking density. Each step is important. If you just jump and watch how to calculate the stocking density, we don't know how to calculate the volume, then that's a problem. Because most of those selling the fish pond, oh, they just tell you the fish pond is 10 by 12 feet. That is it. Or 15 by this feet. If it is square, so this rectangle, it can be square. That means all the sizes will be the same. They'll give you is 10 feet square. They would never, or they will not tell you the liters in the pond or the volume of water in the pond. So knowing how to calculate is very important. And sometimes some people also have calculation mistakes. I mean, they calculate it either over or lesser. When you get there, you will know. So watching this video, rewatching it is very important to know. So let's proceed. Now, first of all, let's begin with rectangular. I said earlier, so this is it. So this is the rectangular pole. So if you are measuring, let me take you through to the front and you see how we measure this pole. When you are measuring, if it's tapoli, you can easily put it on a metal frame and go. But as you can see, if it is a concrete pond like this, when you are measuring, make sure they put the tape measure inside the pond, from the other wall end to other wall end, inside the pond. So when you have that, then you are ensuring that you get accurate measurement. But if you put it on the concrete or on the wall, either outside or in the middle, you are not going to get the right volume. So we measure it accurately. And in the formula of calculating, I'm sure you have watched the video how we have done the measurement. The formula of calculating rectangular fish pond, we have volume is equal to length times width times height. Or if you want to say depth or height, so we are using height here. The length is the longest side. So if you have watched that video, how we have done the measurement, this is the length, which is long. So in the length, we have 10 feet. This is the breadth, the short side. We have 6 feet. And then the height. This is so important. If you are taking the measure of the height, don't measure the full height of the pond. Take note. If you done that measurement, you are going to get the wrong volume of the pond. The reason is that when you are filling in the water, you don't fill the water to the brim. I mean, you don't cover the entire pond. Because when you do that, the fish will be swimming out. So often we leave 1 feet unfilled, especially if the pond is 4 feet and above. So usually it is ideal, especially catfish, to have the depth of the water to be 3 feet. So when you are constructing your fish pond, make sure that the height is above 3 feet. Then you can always fill it up to 3 feet or more and leave a little space. So generally, it is 3 feet. So this measurement we had 3 feet, and we left 1 feet unfilled. So don't add that 1 feet that is not filled to the calculation. Otherwise, you're going to get the wrong volume. So we are leaving that one out, and we are picking only 3 feet. That's where we are going to fill, or we just fill the water to. So now, having gotten this, length 10 feet, width 6 feet, and then height 3 feet. And we know our formula of rectangular to be volume is equal to length times width times height. And note, if it is a square, it means that the length and the width are going to be the same size. If it's 10 feet, we just say 10, 10. Both will be the same. Only the height that will be different. But note, this is not square, so they are varied. So just take note of that. So if it's a square, you know what to do. They'll just give you one side. That's length is this, and you can calculate that. Now we have gotten this formula. volume. We now know our length, which is 10 feet, times our width, which is 6 feet, times our height, which is 3 feet. Now let's look at our calculator. Let's check our calculator. So, volume is equal to, press our calculator together. We have 10 times 6 times 3, which is equal to 180. So here our volume is 180 feet cube. Why do you say cube? Now mathematicians, ft times ft is ft square times another ft. That's where the cube come from. So this is ft1, ft2, ft3. So we have 1, 2, 3 raised to the power 3, and that's how we call cube. So we have 180 feet cube. Now we are not done. We need to now convert this to liters, because this is in cube and we need 1 liters. So how do we do that? So to get our volume in liters, 1 liter, let's say 1 liter in mathematics, one is the same as just writing L, that's liter, without adding the 1. But I just want you, for the layman, to understand. So 1 liter is equal to, this is a general one. If you want, just go to Google and type. It's a general formula. It's equal to 28.3168. You can run it approximate to this figure. So we have 316. Or if you are approximately, you just add this, so making it 7. So I will put it in approximate figure. So I will have 1 liter equal to 28.31. I will add this, take this as 1, add it, so 7. So now our volume is equal to, so now we are now converting this. So we simply multiply this by 180, so that we can now convert the feet cube to liters. So now our volume in liters is equal to 28317 times 180. So let's do our calculation together again. So this is our PC, our calculator. So now 180 times 28.317. Now press our equal sign. So we have 5,197.06. So now this is the volume of water in our rectangular pond. This is the one we have measured. Yours will be different depending on the measurement, but this is just a clue, or it's giving you a guide as how to do the calculation. Now we now know our volume in liters is equal to 5,097.06, and we also know that our intensive, that is having the fish control in the water, regular changing the water, or it's an irrigation system, we have 1 fish, and it also depends. If you are raising the fish to 1 kilogram, take note of this. If you are raising the fish to 1 kilogram body of weight, then we say 1 fish to 10 liters. That's 1 kg of fish. 1 kg of fish is to 10 liters of water. But if it's going to be 1 kg, maybe 500 grams, then it will be it's going to be 500 grams. That means that we have 500, that's 2 into 1, 10 liters, or 500, 2 grams of fish, that's 2 fish to 5 liters. But here, our standard is 1 kilogram. That's what most people are using. Now, having done that, so since our volume in rectangular this is 5,097.06, and to raise 1 kg of fish, we need we need 1 fish to 10 liters. So we will now say that our stocking density here, we now say stocking density. So this is our volume of the water. So stocking density, we are now going to calculate the stocking density. So we say that 1 kilogram of fish is equal to 10 liters of 10 liters of water. Now, this is our liters of water, but for now, we don't know how many fish it will take. So we then say here, let's say, let's represent the number of fish that we have stocked into X. So we now say X is equal to here 500, you have the 5,097.06. So how do you get our X? So we cross multiply. So this and that. So if we cross multiply, we now have 1 kg, that is 597.06 kg. Remember, any number multiplied by 1 is that number, equal to 10 liters. 10x liters. 10 liters x. So we now want to know our stocking density. So we are now saying to get x, we need to now get x to stand alone. So we put our liters here. Let's put the liters. So here, so L kg 10. So to get our x, we need to divide both sides by 10 liters. 10 liters. You see, so that 10 liters will cancel 10 liters here. And we now have our x is equal to, let's take our calculator. So let's divide, so 5,097.6 divided by 10. So we now have our x is equal to 509. 509.7 fish. So therefore, our x is equal to 509.7. So let's do away with the 0.7. So we can say that in stocking a fish pond which has the volume of 5,097 liters, we are stocking 509 fish. Let's say 500, let's say 510. I hope you have gotten that. So, like I said, getting the volume is the difficult thing. Once you get the volume, like we had it, we could simply put our calculator and divide this by 10, and we get it. As simple as that. But I just want you to take through the calculation so you know how to get it or how to calculate it step by step. I said earlier, assuming we are not going to raise the fish to 1 kilogram, maybe we want to raise it to 500 grams, that's half of the 1 kilo. So instead of 1 is to 10, we can now say that 2 is to 10 liters. So we now use 2 fish. We now 10 liters of water to produce 2 fish. Now, we have seen how to calculate the stocking density of a rectangular pond. If you have been inspired, because we are going to now look at how to calculate the stocking density of a cylindrical pond. Your pond might not be a rectangular, but it could be a circular one or cylindrical one. So you may also want to know. So we'll look at that. But before then, let me remind you that I have a comprehensive ebook in the guide in the description. This is a guide for beginners. It gives you, or it covers from planning, setting up the farm, managing the farm, everything to harvesting and marketing of the farm. If you check it out, it's going to guide you a lot. And like I said, in the intensive, if you want to be able to stock up to this quantity, you need to have flotation and aeration system. In that way, too, I got to cover it. I have a DIY, that's do it yourself. It's like creating aquatic system and filtration system. When you enroll in the course, it is a course, it's a detailed DIY videos. Every step has been documented in a video form. When you enroll, I'll also be available to guide you if I have any challenge. Then you will learn it yourself and you will implement it, build your own flotation and aeration, and always put it in your farm. And you can stock more fish and make more profit. This also enhances the faster growth of your fish. Now let's move to how to calculate the cylindrical pond. How to calculate the cylindrical pond. I said earlier, this is cylindrical pond. So let's say it is like this. I'm not good in drawing, but at least I just want to represent something here. Now, this is the height of the pond. And like I said, don't always fill it to the brim. So let's say the height of this cylindrical pond too is 3 feet. Like I said, catfish, at least the height should be 3 feet, the water level, for them to be thriving better. Now, this is the diameter. So the diameter here, let's say it is also 10 feet. Let's say the diameter is 10 feet. Now, the formula for the volume of a cylinder is pi r square times height. Pi r square times height, where pi is the area of the cylinder, whereas r is the radius, which is half of the diameter. So one might ask, then why not just, instead of measuring the full diameter, measure half? You might not get it accurately. So you open your tape measure. So look at how we also measure this cylindrical pond. We have measured the height, which is 3 feet, and the entire height is 10 feet actually. But like I said, we don't fill the water to the fullest. So because the fish will swim out, so we are taking 3 feet. Now the diameter is 10 feet. So we are taking half of it as the radius. So take note. So our volume is equal to pi. And then we now know our r, radius, which is half of diameter. And in this case, it's 5 feet. Half of 10 is 5. So we say 5 raised to the power 2. Remember, this square. It's the same as just not putting it in the we can just use this we can just leave the bracket and put it that way, times height, which is 3 feet. We now know our height. So this it is in feet. So we put the feet column. So when you put the feet column, that's FT, then this should be in bracket, indicated is affecting both. So now we have our volume is equal to pi. Now 5 square means 5 times 5, right? 5 times 5, which is 25. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So we have 25 ft square. Now we still have this. We haven't added, so it's still 5 is cubic. It is still foot square foot, not cube, because we still haven't added this. Now times 3 ft. So now our volume is pi. Now 25 times 3. So let's calculate together. So let me clear this. 25 times 3. We have 75 cube. We have 75 cube. It is now cube because ft square times ft. So these are now 3 ft. So that's the cube. So now let's see. Pi also had a standard value. Pi standard value is 3.14. So we are now representing this by that times 75 cube. So let's calculate. So 75 times 3.14, which gives us 235. So volume is equal to 235.5 cube. That's it. Now we need in liters. Here again, we need it in what? In liters. So we now say, if this is the case, and we need it in liters, 1 liter, 1 liter gives us, that I said earlier, we'll not write the one, give us 28.316. Okay, since I'm writing it to the to 317 approximate figure. So now we simply multiply this by that so that we can get it in liters, writing away the 5 cubed. So simply we are converting this back to liters. So now we now have our volume. Now we now want it in liters. So we multiply 235 times 28.317, which gives us 6,668.65. How you are following? So now in liters. So the cube has gone away and we now have liters. It means we are replacing it by the liters. So let's now calculate the stocking density of the cylinder of this point that we just calculated. Now stocking density of that cylindrical density of that cylindrical one that we covered. Stocking density, the same formula, 1 kg. So kg, so this is kg of fish. We need 10 liters of water. Now, let's represent, when we calculate it, the volume is 6,608.65 liters. So to get the 1 kilogram of fish, how many fish we can stock here? Let's represent the number of fish of this by x. So we then say x. So let's let's take this one. So kg is equal to 10 liters. So this is our answer. X is equal to 6,668.65. My marker, is it so clear? Okay, don't change the marker. So now let's cross multiply. Let's cross multiply this. Now, so liters is attached to this. So if I cross multiply, we now have 10, have you seen? Lx. We are going to cross multiply. Is equal to 10Lx is equal to 6,668.65 liters and kg liters. This the kg will come. So we're going to multiply, the variables will come together. So now we want the value of x. So we divide each side by 10 liter. Divide this by 10 liter. How we are following? So now 10 liter here, we cancel 10 liter. Liter here, we cancel liter here. So x here is equal to, let's divide 6,000. Let's divide 6,668.65 by 10. So the answer is 666. That's 666.87. I'm rounding it to 2 decimal figure. Now, this is it. So it means that that cylindrical pond that we calculated, we can stock up to, this is kg, we can stock up to 666 fish in there, and we can raise them out to 1 kilogram in the pond. I hope you have been inspired. Have you enjoyed the video? In fact, this video is one of the first of its kind. Yes, I've not made a video like this. If you have been following me for long, always be in the farm talking, or be at a place talking, giving you B-rules. But this time around, we are in math class, and it's all part of the business. Sometimes you need to calculate your fish, you need to calculate your profit, calculate your loss. Let me say calculating money. So all are part of the business. And this is just the beginning of the calculation. No, I'm not good in math. Anyway, when I was in high school, I was better in math. Yeah, I even did elective math. I was a business student. Unfortunately, after high school, university, I didn't have anything to do with mathematics again. I became a development student. So that is it. But I still need it. And I'm still applying my high school knowledge to do the calculation. And like I said, this is the beginning. So if you are inspired and you have not subscribed to this channel, you are doing yourself a harm. Please give your subscription, share, like, and comment. Let me know your thoughts about what we have just done, the stocking density. How do you have any challenge? Have you ever faced challenge of stocking? And as a beginner, knowing this before is very important. A lot of beginners, they will go to buy the pond, they will tell them that, this pond you can stock 1,000 fish. They'll come and stock 1,000 fish, not knowing that they have overstocked there. The person wants to make money, and probably the pond that he's having, it cannot be stock 1,000 fish. But you say you want a pond that can stock 1,000 fish, and he wants to make money. He can convince you that you can stock that way and give it to you, and later you will find out that your fish are not growing well. Your fish are dying. Your water, when you change it, small time is dirty again. You need to change again. All this, if you overstock them, you are going to face that. Cannibalism is going to be high. Cannibalism, that's where the fish are attacking and consuming one another. They're eating each other. That's cannibalism. So if you're able to stock your fish properly, you will be able to avoid these things. Like I said, check my resources in the description. That's my ebook guide and my course to learn how to do flotation energy system for yourself. I thank you so much for watching. Once again, my name is Abdulaziz Issa. I will see you in my next video. But very soon, I'll also tell you how to make profits or how much to get from stocking 100 or stocking 500 fish, stocking 1,000 fish. Very soon, we'll do that calculation. It's likely to be our next videos. So stay tuned and see you in my next. Thank you. Bye.